Hello ladies and gentlemen, bringing you a BlazeCast presentation. I'm your host Blaze, and going into a Defense 2 group stage matchup between Absolute Legends and Hydra. Absolute Legends being the Australian team that's performed so well in many tournaments of the past, and they're very popular among the competitive scene, and they're going to be in the International 2 as well, upcoming. And then we got Hydra. It's I would say relatively not well known, little known American team. They're just a group of individuals that have some high level skill, and they're playing their hand at this Defense 2 tournament. So at this point in time, we got first pick coming on the Radiant side, which is Absolute Legends, Musica being the captain, and starting off with the Broodmother band and a Chen band coming out. So kind of taking out those early tower pusher type heroes, and kind of, I'm not actually sure what kind of metagame Absolute Legend plays. I know they just dominate most of their games from what I've seen overall, but I wouldn't say it's specifically oriented towards a push style or anything specific to that. But I know they have a lot of tricks up their sleeve, a lot of versatility in their heroes, and they're able to put a lot into a lot of their tournaments. So just some pretty standard high tier bands. The Broodmother band was a little bit odd for a first band, but I mean, one way or another, it's a pesky hero that a lot of people like to take out pretty quick. So Chen, Invoker, and Broodmother taken off the board at this point. Just gonna take a second to say that I'm Blaze. I'm trying to kind of get into Dota casting. This is probably like my 8th cast or something like that I've recorded. Trying to improve overall, and I think I've improved a decent amount since I started off, but still a long way to go. Still a lot of stuff to work on. So just kind of trying to improve. And if you guys keep in mind while you're watching it, give me a little bit of feedback, constructive criticism, anything, just to let me know what you guys think and how I can improve overall. That'd be awesome. Anyways, got Nature Prophet Band, kind of similar to the Chen pickup, just that kind of thing they don't want to have as the first pick for the opposition there. Really pesky early game push and aggressive style like that they just, yeah. So I'm trying to think of what specifically either one's the American metagame. Although varies from team to team, it kind of still is oriented towards kind of a little bit of everything, a little bit of gank push and farm. It kind of is oriented towards at least getting one late game carry and trying to get just funnel gold into them through a medium level push and overall lane domination. So that's kind of when we're looking at Lycan ban and Enchantress ban. They figure since the Chen does get banned out and they don't plan on picking up the Enchantress, the Absolute Legends that is, they want to make sure that on the second 2 picks that Enchantress doesn't get picked up without Chen being able as a counter. So it obviously conveys that AL didn't even want the Chen, but Lycan does get picked off, and so they're going to go into the first pick for Absolute Legends. This kind of sets the tone for how their lane's going to go, what overpowered thing they want to pick up, and Chaos Knight is the one they pick up. Very common first pick recently. The last 3 games I've casted, he's been one of the first picks, if not the first pick. And he has this really high level aggression, like I've said before. If you've seen any of my previous videos, Chaos Knight, he's a very RNG based hero. It's all about randomness for him. It's all about the chance of how well his effectiveness of his skills are, whether or not he's throwing himself at the enemy or bringing them all the way back into an unsafe zone, whether or not he gets a really long duration stun, ranging from 1 second to up to 4 seconds there, and depending on the rank. And it's just kind of a system of probability. You can lane really effectively and do some really gank effectiveness towards the mid game, and even scales pretty well into the late game as well. So he's a very powerful pickup, and something to be feared when he reaches his maximum randomness potential. So it's kind of that mystery element. Anyways, Darkseer, very nice pickup. Did not get banned out, surprisingly, and that's one hero that can be very frustrating. Shadow Demon does counter him a little bit with his ultimate. The Purge effect on Shadow Demon will take off the surge on the Darkseer, so the haste could be less beneficial. But overall, that's not enough to really say it's a bad pickup by comparison. Darkseer is just still an amazing hero, very versatile. Can do a suicide lane with some tank ability. Can do the jungle. Does that really well with smoke and the Ion Shell there. And also, he just groups up perfectly for their next pickup, Earthshaker. So you got Darkseer does a vacuum into an Earthshaker, either Fisher or Echo Slam once he gets that blink up, or if he vacuums them right on top of them, and sets up for a really high potential team fight going into the mid game. Leshrac and Shadow Demon as pickups for Hydra, I think those are really good, solid pickups. Leshrac especially, being able to add a lot of push to it, and the fact that Lesh and SD together can do a lot of devastating tri-lanes, whether they pick up a Morphling or whatever they want to pick up, no matter what carry it is. That disruption going into that Leshrac stun, Split Earth will overall just provide a lot of lane potency that is very hard to deal with. Tide is going to be the third pickup there, kind of making sure that they get the AoE hero for the team fight picked up before the bans come out, because now that AL has Earthshaker, they have all the opportunity in the world to ban out Sand King, Tide, and Leshrac's already on the board. So that kind of is just something they wanted to guarantee, make sure that they didn't get double banned on. Now Sand King's nobody has a care in the world for him because they already got the Tide and the Earthshaker out, as far as I'm concerned anyways. Good ban against I would say Hydra should probably be looking for a Enigma ban, seeing as they do have the Darkseer and the Earthshaker. It's something that can be very painful to have to deal with. And they also don't want to make their lanes any stronger. Be interested to see something like a Lich pickup or something like that. Enigma does actually come out as a ban for Absolute Legends, so it looks like they weren't really thinking about doing their first pick on that, and they just wanted it off the board. Crystal Maiden comes out for the ban there, taking out a nice lane support. You gotta still realize that, you got Vengeful Spirit and Venomancer and a couple others that are available there for that role as well. So we'll see. No carries banned out and no carries picked up unless you count Broodmother and Lycan, but those are pretty standard bans. So I'm not sure if CK is going to want another endgame hero Absolute Legends, if they're going to want another endgame hero besides the Chaos Knight, and they'll put more farm into, or they're just going to be happy with the Chaos Knight and just go for really, really mid-game domination that I've seen from them and have the CK carry with the items he gets from that. But one way or another, Hydra's going to be looking for a carry type hero, whether it's an anti-mage, Morphling. Morphling would be really good in this lineup from what I'm seeing, but they do ban out the Panda. So I'm not sure if AL is looking at picking up something like that, like the Morphling, or they just want to strengthen what they already got going on, which is very, very aggressive laning phase into very, very potent mid-game. And that's really what they got set up for their team lineup right now, but they do need some good support, somebody who can put some money into wards and that sort of thing, other than Earthshaker there. Because Earthshaker with a Blink Dagger is just that much more effective, and so you're probably going to see a pretty hard support. Lich does get banned out, along with the Crystal Maiden, so you're going to be looking maybe at a Veno or a VS.
5 seconds remaining.
As for Hydra, you could be looking at like maybe a solo mid, or they might be running the Leshrac mid with the Tide SD laning, but the AA comes out as a pickup for Absolute Legends. That's a very common pickup with the Chaos Knight, pretty much along those lines. Not only is it an AoE ultimate, just like the Earthshaker with the vacuum, but AA has that nice ultimate, but he also has an incredibly powerful laning phase with the Chaos Knight. What the Chaos Knight will do is do the Chaos Bolt, get 2+ seconds on that, and the Ancient Apparition will be able to get a really easy cold feed off alongside that. And so that just is devastating to deal with unless you get a nice disruption on your hands, and it can be something that's going to cause a lot of problems. Seen a lot of dual lanes with the Chaos Knight and Ancient Apparition, whether it's a dual mid or what, depends on what they really want to do with it, but they have a lot of versatility and a lot of options there. But I guarantee the CK and the AA are going to be in the same lane one way or another. And there's the Morphling pickup. So along those lines, you're looking at Leshrac, Shadow Demon, Morphling, kind of a classic lane. You can look at Tidehunter. He's not really great on the Suicide, in my opinion, because he needs a little bit of experience, and if he gets shut down too hard, that can be pretty devastating for him. But he can do a mid lane solo decently. Not against a Tinker per se, but I mean he's beefy, he can take it no matter what he's up against. So we'll see if they want to run a support Tide along with like Shadow Demon and have the Leshrac solo, or split those guys around. But one way or another, that Morphling is going to get a lot of harm, and that's what they're looking for, is Hydra's going to try to push for getting that Morphling farmed up. Maybe either get some defensive stuff like Lincoln's or just get some aggressive potency. I wouldn't say an E-Blade is going to be very effective there, because Earthshakers are relatively has a good strength gain, and Ancient Apparition's just not going to be worth it to pick off that effectively. Even a buyback Ice Blast is going to be enough to make him worth it in the fight, but Windrunner is the last pickup, and that's going to be their Suicide lane for sure. So I'm expecting pretty much a 3-1-1 setup from Hydra. More likely going to be like a 1-2-1 with a jungle for Absolute Legends. But I'm actually not sure where the Earthshaker will land in that situation, so that might not be the case. I could see Tinker definitely soloing, hopefully in a safer area against these aggressive tri-lane type activities. Maybe he'll solo bot and go 1v1 against the Windrunner. And then you could have like Ancient Apparition, CK, and Earthshaker as a kind of counter tri-lane up top lane. That could be very, very fun to watch. Very, very dynamic between the two teams. Having them go back, kind of go at it 3v3. And then have DS solo or something along those lines. I definitely do think that with the Earthshaker pickup, they're going to have to do something that has strength in lanes. I mean, yeah, they could do Tinker Earthshaker, kind of just Earthshaker roaming around and supporting the Tinker, but not stealing too much experience. But that would make him very weak against the rest of the team later on when they have so much burst magic damage. So we'll see exactly what they end up deciding to do with that. But starting out, we got Godot on the Ancient Apparition, very good support player there. Snoopy loves that Darkseer. Bleak actually on the Chaos Knight for this round, and Musica, the initiator of the team, playing on that Earthshaker. That's really good. They do have Tinker going for the bottom with his Shatan, and he's just going to go up for maybe a fast soul ring or something like that. Doesn't have any of the components right now, so you can't really tell. But yeah, do have a full smoke gate going on. They want to gain the initial first blood. They're going to try to move that direction, hunting bottom lane, hunting for this solo tanker, and it really depends on positioning how this can actually work out for them. But the fact that they're showing the smoke already means that they really want to be aggressive, be very mobile, and get where they need to. And we'll see how that pays off for them. But Tinker in a very good position, Shatan hiding in the trees here, and as long as he doesn't come out to play peekaboo with these guys, he should be alright at this point in time. And that kind of doesn't really show what's going on in the lanes other than they're dropping down this observer ward. They're trying to kind of keep vision and keep this guy shut down. Whether or not they put their tri-lane down here and kind of have these three stay up top lane, have a solo mid, we'll see exactly what they intend to do. But right now it looks like it's going to be a Tide, Shadow Demon, and Morphling covering the bottom lane, shutting down the Tinker. And it's going to be a 3 versus 1 there. And Shatan he has to watch himself. He has no idea what's in store for him right here. Disruption coming out. He's going to get blocked in by the illusions. The waveform comes across a little early, but he's in good position where Shatan can do absolutely nothing. He's going to take down real quick. Morphling pops that first blood. Does take a lot of damage from that tower and kind of could have waited just a half a second more on the waveform, but it doesn't matter. It's going to finish off what they need to. Ancient Apparition on Absolute Legends. They've got the cool invisibility rune, and he's going to try to do some early pressure on this Leshrac with this CK. They're going to be looking for a 2-second Chaos Bolt, though. It's kind of 50-50 chance if they're going to actually land it the way they wanted to. But one way or another, here comes Godot harassing out, just doing a couple auto attacks for free. But really, it's starting right off in the favor. Tinker is not even bothering with his bottom lane. He doesn't want to have to deal with a tri-lane, or in this case a dual lane, just Tidehunter and Warfling. He's going to go for where it's safe, where he can get the money, and where he can actually benefit from the farm. So it looks like a 2v2 Leshrac Shadow Demon versus Chaos Knight Ancient Apparition, which is, I would say, in the favor of these two, because look at that combo. 2-second stun, Earthshaker coming into roam. He does disrupt himself from the cold feet, but he's so low on health, it's just going to be real 2 auto attacks, and he's going to be down. And Chaos Knight, he dropped down. If he had popped that salve, he would have lived from that last auto attack, but he wasn't sure if it was going for him in the first place, maybe. Either way, he does drop down, and so it's a 1-for-1 trade. Edict pops, but there's so many creeps to tank it up. There's 4 different creeps, and here comes the Chaos Knight, Cold Feet, and Leshrac, a little bit over aggressive, and he's going to go down. So that's not what they want. They're not even getting experience for. Well, Shadow Demon should be here in time to get the experience from the next creep wave, but and Leshrac TPing in. But overall, it's been very, very active in this area here, but they're not really getting the benefit they want to. Now, Darkseer is going to be laning bottom against this Morphling Tidehunter. And Snoopy's just going to be that beefy guy that can get out of any escape mechanisms there. Pretty much whenever he's gushed, he always has a surge available, just like that, and he can get out of it and not really worry about the slow effect on him. I'm not sure where Ancient Apparition ran off to, if he's planning on jumping. Oh, he's jumping back to mid lane, just needed to regenerate, heal up, get some regen, and be ready for another skirmish between these guys. They're going for the top rune, Haste. The Cold Feet's not really going to bed from here, but the Disruption is going to actually cause some problems for him because he just did get 2 illusions on him. It does have increased received by 20%, and so even just a few auto attacks from this Hasted Shadow Demon does bring him down quite considerably with that Soul Catcher left on him. Along those lines, Windrunner just kind of trying to hold their own against the 2v1 top. It's a Earthshaker Tinker type thing, and Earthshaker's keeping a good amount of distance from the wave, from the creeps, so that Tinker can focus on getting solo experience. Musica does see Infinity over here all by himself, and if you can actually set up a good Fisher, it could be a lot of burst damage coming in on him. Tinker going for an aggressive build of maxing laser first. Very bursty if you can get that close range. It's not very wide range of fire compared to the rockets, but he's still an effective nuker, and it is one thing that will go straight through with that wind run. No problems there. Coming back into the game, sorry there did have a quick crash there, unfortunately for Dota, but yeah, just hopefully won't derail the train. I've been doing pretty good so far, I think. And anyways, back into it. I've got PowerNet and Morphling and Tide. There were some stacked ancients. Darkseer was looking at pulling a little bit, and they're trying to have none of that, making sure they can get that golden experience right back to them with that taking out those neutrals there. Yeah, pounding down the Morphling, farming all right, not doing too bad. Got the 8, almost has his ring of health if that's what he chooses to go for. And he is 15 CS in, so he's got the most creep kills in the game right now. And Morphling's one of his primary heroes, his kind of signature hero there, so he is benefiting a lot from that farm, and I'm looking forward to see what he can do later in the game. But right now it's 2-2 and it's anybody's game. Got a lot of action going on in the middle lane, back and forth between these very aggressive, very playmaking heroes, between the Ancient Apparition, the Chaos Knight, and unfortunately I didn't catch a kill on the Windrunner that I was kind of talking about before. But pretty much, yeah, with the fact that Tinker is going for that laser build, he is able to do an extreme amount of burst magic damage, and with a good Earthshaker Fisher, who is coming around from behind. I mean, nothing really going on bottom too much, but Earthshaker Musica is going to come in for a Fisher, try to catch out this Leshrac way out in the open if he just times it right. CK and AA, he doesn't even need the help. The Cold Feet's going to go, and he's just going to make sure that he doesn't get disrupted out, and he did get disrupted, but it wasn't really enough. There's a bit of damage coming on the Chaos Knight at this point, based on the disruption illusions, but he's going to salve up, and he's going to be perfectly fine too. Musica, too bad that Shadow didn't go a little bit more forward. If he had, then Fisher could have actually gone to block him out, which would put him in a very miserable spot, because the cooldowns on these two heroes are actually really short, and they could have done that much more damage. But Demise not having a fun time in this middle lane, despite getting this support of the Shadow Demon, who's generally a really good support hero and able to keep people protected very effectively. Just this kill lane between Bleak and Godot, causing him to be at this point 1 and 2, and not that high on CS. So they're really looking towards the Morphling getting some damage in. A bit of damage coming on Snoopy, but he's got that surge at all times with that soul ring for regeneration, so really he's not too afraid. He can Ion Shell down some creeps and kind of push the lane, and he really doesn't have to worry about too much at all. A lot of damage coming on the Morphling. He's going to have to waveform out, which costs him considerably. He has an invisibility rune bottled, but really he's going to have to Agimorph up a bit, bottle up, and then, yeah. Or he might just keep his stats at the standard level here. But either way, he does have to use some of his staple regeneration, and if the rune doesn't spawn bottom again, he's going to have to crow it, and that's going to cut into his sustainability a decent bit. But overall, he's got his Wraithband, might be going for an Aquila, and he's doing alright, except for the fact that Snoopy is all over him just by walking next to him with that rank 3 Ion Shell. You can just see the experience advantage working in his favor with the amount of damage that he can really quickly put into this Morphling and draining his bottle really quickly. Infinity doing alright on top lane. I think that's his first time he's died to a pretty effective combo, but they're not able to stop the CS on Shaitan, going for 23 creep kills on the Tinker, and a little bit of deny action going on there too, which just caused a bit of pain there. So this lane in mid is not being as effective as I think Hydra wanted it to be. The fact that they're putting out so much damage between this Chaos Knight and this AA with the occasional gank from Earthshaker, and the fact that they have no vision in this area, they have no wards in any of the top lane area, and that's mostly their primary issue. I mean, I know it's after the 6-minute mark, but you got to keep up on that, especially when you're playing support. And the Courier run around. The Courier's too busy trying to pick up a bottle from Morphling. Actually, it did miss the Darkseer kill on that point, and it was split between Tidehunter and Morphling, so it was the waveform and the Tidehunter damage and a little bit of damage from the creeps as well. But I mean, a little bit back and forth there. You can see their health is really low, and even all by himself, he can bring a lot of pain. But it must have been a little bit of an over-aggression based on the fact that he should generally be able to surge out of most conflicts. But like I was saying, this Courier was going back to fill up the bottle, and that's what's causing Solace to be slow in his warding, because the wards were in his stash for the past much longer than a minute. So that's allowing Earthshaker and Musica to run around and just put out the pressure, put out the hurt on this Leshrac, who really needs that experience at this point in time. I mean, when you got a Chaos Knight doing as well as your Leshrac, when he's supposed to be the primary mid hero there, getting as much CS and as much experience as possible, you're having problems. So hopefully it won't affect them long term, but the Lightning Storm is what he's going to have to max instead of the Edict, and that's going to limit how much they can push. He does a nice Reality Rift off the cliff into a 1-second stun. It's actually not good enough for stun, but the Cold Feet's going to break off too. It's a nice disruption there, and a nice Leshrac stun with the damage from the W from Shadow Demon, and that's going to take out the AA. That was a really nice Reality Rift. They're kind of warding at this point with the sentries. It's a good play there. But it was really nice Reality Rift bringing the Shadow Demon off the cliff, but unfortunately with a 1-second stun, he's able to disruption out of any of the remaining oncoming damage. Now Chaos Knight's kind of caught out with the Leshrac stun coming right after. It's a really nice combo, but Leshrac actually misses his stun, mistimes it a little bit. They're going to take the damage from the Tidehunter. Oh wow, if he escapes from this, oh my gosh, I think that the Tidehunter was just about to let them have a kill and let him let the Leshrac get it or something along those lines, and they actually get fogged up the cliff, allowing Chaos Knight to escape freely. Bleak's got to be very, very relieved about that fact. So that's leaving this kill score at 4-4, and unfortunately for them, we got some action. Tidehunter was trying to do some damage on him, but he's in a spot where he can get really easily fissured out, completely blocked off here. He has to pop his Ravage, and he's still going to die, which is extremely unfortunate. Nice Shackle comes out from Infinity, but he's getting hammered on by creeps, and he's about to get hammered on by a very aggressive Darkseer as well. Surging through, but it is only rank 1 Surge, so he's going to have to get a really good vacuum off, and the salve has popped up. Music are trying to line up a Fissure, but it might just be out of range. It's just in range, but they don't have vision now, and they're getting hammered on by creeps, and they have to fall back. Ancient Apparition, in the meantime, does get a kill on the Shrek, probably from a long duration Chaos Bolt. He can stun up to 4 seconds at this point if he gets lucky, so it's all about that RNG, and that's what's getting the kills on that line there. In the meantime, Morphling's going to do a split push type setup, gets an illusion rune popped, and it's going to have Force Tinker to fall back at this point in time. He is experienced enough with 4 and laser, 4 and missiles that he feels confident enough to go up against this Morphling mano a mano. But really, it's the question of where the Tide support is at this point in time. Ravage is on cooldown, so he's just going to have to cover mid with everything else he's got. No points in Kraken Shell at this point, so there are a couple debuffs that can be very destructive for him, specifically the Cold Feet. That's what I have in mind if he keeps that on him. But Windrunner getting cornered in, a nice Musica Fissure coming in and just completely blocking her in the worst spot, trying to path around, but that pathing is not going to let her get through to this position here. But PowerNet getting set up with the TP in on the Darkseer, and he's going to waveform him down. And that's going to actually get him more beneficial kill, because Windrunner dying, not the biggest deal in the world. She can come back, bounce back from it, but feeding a Morphling a kill, that's going to hurt him a bit. And the Milkman Courier picking up, doing his rounds, picking up when he needs to, and filling it back up. So that keeps Morphling sustained in lane, but it does inhibit Hydra from getting all the items that they need when they need them at this point. Boots and stash for Shadow Demon. Leshrac is kind of roaming around a little bit, trying to get some Gake action going on, and he's going to be going in behind the Tinker here, Shatan playing that. And with the Haste Rune, he actually can do a lot of damage. Rank 2 Edict even is still going to be very effective. And just from the lightning damage, a lot of burst coming for Shatan, but the Edict is enough to finish him off. Pops the salve, and he's back up. Oh, AA ulti coming in if he can land it. Oh, nice dodge. They must have had good communication coming from people watching in the middle lane. Is able to see where it's going to, and is able to avoid it, therefore keeping his regeneration going long enough that he's perfectly fine now. But yeah, PowerNet just farming it up, trying to keep the pressure going on any lane they can. But there is a combo going in from Bleak and Godot, taking down the Shadow Demon and trying to go for the Tide, but it's just too far away. He did bottle up, and he does have a Chaos Bolt. It's going to finish him off. He could have probably auto-attacked him, honestly, but he wanted to secure that kill, and that's what he accomplished. At this point, a lot of damage comes with the Shrek, but he is out of mana, and it looks like if he can just surge out, but Warfling knows exactly where he's at. Zeroes in on him, waveforms out. The Ancient Apparition ulti coming in mid. Was going for the Shrek, but he's already healed up, and that's not going to accomplish anything there. Just sends it through, gets a debuff on Lesh, but overall, really nice play by Morphling here. He's TPing every single time he teleports somewhere. He's getting a kill for it, and so he's reaping the benefits of that. He's a level 10 at this point, got a nice experience advantage for that fact. He's out leveling Tinker, and that's exactly what they need. Overall, he's kind of making the plays. He's got that rank 4 waveform, which has 325 damage, considerable amount, and just utilizing the mobility, constantly having the TP scroll, constantly having the map awareness. Ravage is up for the Tide at this point. He is still level 6, but Morphling gets pulled in and comboed down hard. He's morphing up as hard as possible, gets his strength going up, but he's low on mana. If that AA ulti doesn't go wide, but he does go to a safe spot, picking up the top rune regeneration. So what he's going to do is he's going to get as much agi out as possible, and then he's going to pop that regen. He should be agi morphing right now, but I guess he's happy with the 1195 he's got right now with this Chaos Knight coming in on him. He's trying to line up a Reality Rift, but LOS too hard. Now he feels he's in too deep, going to pull back. Demise at this point getting that solo experience that he's been desperately wanting, trying to push down a little bit on this top tower, but and Windrunner doing the same on the bottom. I don't know if she took it out individually or not. Tower was destroyed by the Dire. I'm guessing that was her doing there with Tide as a support. So he's going to be looking for Arcane Boots or Wand, something to sustain his mana, because right now he's out in the field and he's got nothing to keep it up. A little bit of damage on Satan and nothing to really stop him, because that Cold Feet's going to do almost nothing to him. He's keeping his int treads right now, because that allows him to do as much morph as possible. It does take 20 mana per second, but it's that much more effective. Ancient Apparition ulti going out towards bottom lane. But the the morph is that much more effective when you have int treads because you're effectively using less mana. AALT does go hit on Tide. Now, like I said, he doesn't have any regeneration, so if he gets just that much more damage on him, he's going to have to fall back, and that's cost him a lot of time, a lot of experience. He's not going to be able to level up nearly as hard as any of the other heroes. Just more harass on Chatan as much as possible. Clears a couple creep waves, couple creep kills every single time he wave forms, and that's keeping him really well farmed up. He's going to be opting for the Ethereal Blade. He has picked up the Ghost Scepter already, so he's just going to go for some very powerful aggression, disarming aggression. If he does enough damage and the Tinker isn't prepared for it with defensive items, it looks like he did just pick up his Boots of Travel, but if Tinker doesn't have enough health, just doing an Adaptive Strike plus an Ethereal Blade can pop him off real quick. They call it Shotgun. It's just 2 hits, boom, boom, and knock somebody out real quick. And he's farming up real quick, and that actually, surprised he did not see that Courier there. If he had caught it out, that would have been actually a really, really high gain for Power Net, but he's just covering the runes, bottling it up, and doing what he needs to do. Maybe looking at gank on Earthshaker or Musica or something like that. But there's a lot of coverage mid at this point, and the Rockets disrupted, so no big deal there. But there are, at this point, 3 versus 3 mid, but and Morphling does have his invisibility bottled at the moment. So I'm going to TP'd out. I'm looking at Tinker. He's Boots of traveling around the map. What he does is he just gets that bottle, constantly uses it whenever he's in the fountain. He rearms his Boots of Travel somewhere, then rearms, and then Boots of Travel somewhere else, and he's able to farm extremely rapidly. Actually, the AA ulti just barely missed. I'm not sure if the Fisher pushed him out, but if the AA ulti had hit, he would have been in a very bad spot right now, but he's doing alright, despite the Tinker Rockets and that aggression. However, I cannot say the exact same thing for Snoopy. He has got a lot of people on him. He just popped his Surge, only has a second left on it, and he's going to have a Purge going on him. He's going nowhere fast, so that's going to be, hopefully PowerNet can try to pick up the kill there, but Snoopy picks Shadow Demon. Yeah, his ultimate popped at that moment and finished him off. So, hard time for him, and he needs to kind of be more aware of the fact that Shadow Demon can completely counter his Surge, and the fact that his Surge is only rank 1, so he's having a hard time getting where he needs to and getting out of those tough situations. And Hydra know that, and they can capitalize on that, and that's what they've been doing. However, they are leaving a little bit of an opening on top lane. Nobody's TPing to support. Morphling's coming in right now, but they do have Fortify, and they're going to have to use it pretty quickly. That's an interesting play there. He did teleport while invisible. He popped his invisibility rune and started the teleport while it started channeling, so he was actually able to port there with the invisibility active. And now he can go for a deny or some aggression play right here. And with Tide, he's going to go for the aggression. Tide is caught out by himself and bursted down, and that's going to be a tough spot, but as soon as this Tinker leaves, he's going to Adaptive Strike the Musica, and he's going to wait for him across, finish him off. So, yeah, really nice play with the Morphling there. And he's able to net a lot of benefit from that. A lot of bottling going on, and long-range rockets, just trying to get people off the middle lane. Sorry, a little distracted on top, but that was a really good play by Morphling there. So, at this point in time, Tinker is very happy about the fact that he's Boots of Travels, but with only the rank 1 March of Machines, where his general strategy of jumping around the map, pushing the waves, and getting the CS real quick, and then getting out, he really can't do that as effectively. These creeps, he did just pick off 2 of them. Actually, that was the Ion Shell, so he didn't pick up any of those creeps, because his March of Machines isn't as effective as they could be. So, although he has a lot of burst damage from this laser when he can get in close proximity, and he is about to finish off his Soul Ring, overall, replicated out by Morphling. ALT, not going to pop on anything, but even so, what you're looking at there is he's able to burst very effectively in these early game team fights, but he's not as fast of a flash farmer, because even if he marks the machines twice, it's not going to demolish a creep wave. A lot of kind of stalemate going on mid. They're looking for the rune spawn, but it's not going to be for another minute, so he's Morphling's kind of out without regeneration right now. But he's actually playing very aggressively. He might actually pay for this one right here. He got some nice disruption. He's got Strength Morph going up, but he's almost out of mana, and they know that with the Cold Feet, if they can just get some more action on him, but they're not mobile enough, and they know he has this Ravage support. So here comes Chatan, maybe to capitalize on that, but Morphling realizes he's just in too bad of a situation. He can't wait for that rune. He's popping back to the fountain, and he'll be running this back this direction as soon as he can, bottoming up and agi-morphing it in. In the meantime, Mech finished up on Winter. That's exactly what they needed to start these team fights going really hardcore, so you can kind of see how the items are shaping up with the drums on Chaos Knight and Mech and all that, a couple Soul Rings, a lot of bottles. But yeah, Chatan just jumping in, doing a little bit of tower aggression, and then jumping back to Fountain, and then probably going to jump top again. And Musica covering that until he gets there. Does have a decent amount of farm with the Arcane Boots and the 800 gold there. Didn't have to spend too much on the support type stuff. Each damn person's got that pretty well covered, even because he only has an urn, and doing pretty effectively there. while CK is just trying to pick up as much as he can. Whether he's going for, I mean, there's a lot of different things he could go for with that ring of health, or he might just keep it and go for an armlet or something like that. But really, they got to start worrying about this Morphling. He's very near his Ethereal Blade at this point, only 100 away. And once he picks that up, he's going to start providing a very high amount of pressure with that magic damage burst there. And Demise looks like he's going to be opting for a BKB, which is a really strong choice against all of these. I mean, literally every single one of the heroes can do some painful magic damage stuff. Godot gets ulted by Shadow Demon along with a Shackle on 2. Godot to Snoopy. Chaos Knight tries to come in, but there's nothing he can do but 4-second stun. Ravage goes off. Earthshaker going to be looking for a Echo Slam. Nice vacuum Echo Slam Fisher. And the damage from Darkseer with his Wall of Replica almost going to finish everybody off, but Winrar is going to try to win her out. Gets the stun off and finishes her off with her Tinker Rockets. So really nice comeback, really nice play from Absolute Legends. Looks like they were in a really bad spot with the initiation onto Ancient Apparition, but they made them pay for it. A lot of TP support and really lucky with that 4-second stun onto from Bleak onto the Shadow Demon. So overall, despite the Ravage, they were able to do a lot, but here comes that Ethereal Blade I was talking about. He finished it off. He is in a bad spot with that Reality Rift, but he's going to try to morph up as much as possible. Now he has no mana for Waveform, and he really needs it, because, Ancient Apparition ulti coming out, but if he farms up a little bit more, he's in a tough spot, but he is going to live as long as there's no more incoming damage on him. Too bad Tinker's not there. It'd be very painful for him if it was. Anywho, but yeah, like I was saying, that Ethereal Blade makes them receive a percent-based bonus to magic damage, and does damage based on his agility. Morphling can morph his agility to as high as it needs to be. Vacuum coming in on him, and he actually uses his waveform up. If Snoopy had more mana, he could actually cause Power Nat a bad time, but nothing he can do right now. But like I was saying, Adaptive Strike also does damage based on agility, so once a Morphling gets maybe a Butterfly or even just double stat items like Lincoln, Scotty, Manta, that kind of stuff. Probably Manta would be a pretty good pickup, generally speaking. But along those lines, he'll just get a lot out of it and be able to do a huge amount of burst. Here comes a nice Shackle, but it does go wide, and the Shrike is going to bide his time, wait to see what plays he can make. Windrunner actually kind of in a vulnerable position because Leshrac is near literally 4 people, and if Earthshaker is able to get a Fisher off, even though they don't know about this Leshrac, there's just way too many people. Winner's going to see that real quick and try to fall back. But now Leshrac's only got about 15 seconds left on his Invis and has to rethink his positioning as well. Meanwhile, Power Net's split pushing on the mid and really doing what Morphling does best, and that's just utilize the fact that he has such amazing escape potential to wreak havoc on the other lanes. And get that farm up as more and more, because he scales so well with it at Adaptive Strike, and in this case with the Ethereal Blade as well. So yeah, like I said, he can morph that Agi up, even if he gets an item that gives like bonus to all stats, all using Ultimate Orbs. That's just more HP that he can sit in his pool while he morphs that strength from like 27 down to 1 or 0, if it were possible. And pretty much along those lines, he'll max out his agility, be able to jump in on somebody, Ethereal Blade, Adaptive Strike, be able to pick off a Tinker, Ancient Apparition, even an Earthshaker. I mean, it's just so destructive and has such a high damage potential. It just kind of gives him that early game teamfight damage pressure that most carries can't afford. It does leave him very vulnerable, no Lincolns, nothing like that, so if he does get hard disabled, runs out of mana, something like that, there's only so much he can do before he just gets knocked down by Chain Disables and Chain Pain from everybody else. Rank 2 Ultimate and Chaos Knight, and Ancient Apparition just trying to kind of cover mid, but Morphling's going to get that last hit on the tower and dodge out from the A ulti. Shatan trying to get whatever he can. He's going to be looking maybe for a Dagon at this point. He could go 4-staff or Dagon with the mantle and the staff that he has. Either one of those will be viable options. Generally speaking, you think the 4-staff provides more utility, but here comes the smoke gank from the middle lane. They do have a ward there, so they think they're safe, but here comes the Shadow Demon initiation, but Chaos Knight gets another 4-second stun, combined with a Cold Feet and a Reality Rift. The illusions are going to take him down really quickly. Now Leshrac has to worry about himself. Low mana on the Chaos Knight. He's got nothing but a Reality Rift at this point, but he does use it and gets the Windrunner damage off. On Leshrac there. Windrunner's going to make it alright with her phase boots, but the fact that they used a smoke and only went 2 for, in that case, 0, but then on the side of the map, I think Tinker got popped off by, I believe, Morphling. Yeah, Morphling Unstoppable with a double damage rune. Just that much extreme amount of damage for the Tinker at this point. He's only got 900 HP, and he really needs to rethink whether or not he's going to pick up a more defensive item like a BKB or something like that, because otherwise he's going to be morphling fodder, and that's going to be put him in a bad situation. Morphling can even look at doing it again if Shatan's not careful. Doing it, he's going to do it, the Adaptive Strike, and boom! So much damage. Wait for him across, finish it off, and he's just going to TP out to safety. So that's just such incredible pressure that Morphling can pretty much, with his 3 combo, if he has enough mana for it, he can pop off a full Tinker from pretty much full health, and now he has the BKB to deal with all the disable that Absolute Legends is bringing. So this is something that's going to be very difficult for Morphling for Absolute Legends to deal with at this point. They're probably thinking the lucky stars that they shut down Leshrac so well early game, but at the same time, you got a powerful teamfight ultimate coming up. It's rank 1 right now, but he's moving towards rank 2 pretty rapidly. Earthshaker does have his blink though, and that's exactly what Absolute Legend needs. Nice counter ward action going on by Solace, covering Observer wards, Sentry wards, all that good stuff. But with that Blink Dagger and Earthshaker, Musica does amazing Echo Slams. I mean, you've seen a couple good ones just with a basic Vacuum in middle lane, but it gets so much better, and the power of it just really exponentially increases it once he gets that Blink Dagger. He can just, get a decent Fisher off or something like that, and then jump in on the most opportune situation. Maybe Shadow Demon Illusions, I don't know. I mean, there's just so much that he can jump on, but once he gets clustered in the middle of them, especially after a Vacuum, it's just the amount of damage with the fact that they don't have a pipe yet. They have a mech. I don't think they're even working on a pipe that I've seen, but I could be wrong. ALT going wide top. He's trying to do some pressure to Leshrac, but it's not going to happen. But that okay, pop off on an Ancient Apparition. Morphling just haste rune, able to see somebody, target them, and just go at it. With that BKB, he's pretty much fearless. Because all he has to do is pop BKB and TP scroll, and he gets a free kill and doesn't have to worry about literally anything. There's no way to stop him from teleporting out once he starts to strength morph TP scroll. I mean, he doesn't have to strength morph, but that just gives him more health if he needs it. Now he's looking for that kill on Tinker. Again, Shatan being in a bad spot, and constantly has to be aware of the fact that on, what's the cooldown on this? So a 30-second cooldown, this Morphling can pretty much one-shot any of the squishy players on the team. So he's going to wave out full Soul Catcher on to Dark Seer. He's got to watch himself. He's got a Surge up, and he has his pipe, and Tidehunter is now the one who's going to have to pay attention to his positioning, because Ancient Apparition ult coming out, 3-second stun on the Tidehunter, and one way or another he's dropping down. Didn't really stand a chance. Morphling, half health, and has to watch it, but he is just loving the farm. Farming so well, getting so many kills at this point in time. I mean, you're looking at 178 CS, 8 kills, and 2 assists. So much gold from that, and he's definitely taking advantage of it at this point in the game. 26 minutes in the game, doing so much pressure. I mean, you saw 8 kills out of 15. 15 kills on their team, and he's got 8 of them. So that's all the farm going straight to the carry, and that's what they need. That's where the Dire... It's been very back and forth with the team fights, but overall that's really what the Dire needs, is to get Morphling more and more farmed up, because it's more and more scalable. He can't do it all alone, but he can certainly try. That's for sure. No, just give him more and more farm with the Ancients here, and has a regen rune to pop off as soon as he finishes that up. Don't know why he's leaving that alive, but whatever. But yeah, no, Leshrac did finish the BKB, so he will be able to sustain in the team fights a little bit. But with Shadow Demon so weak, and Tide even having very little tank ability, they're going to have to watch themselves. Especially with that Earthshaker, Vacuum Ravage, or Vacuum Chaos Dunk, Echo Slam. So along those lines, really, the key point for Hydra strategy is the Morphling. PowerNet's so good at playing him, as you have seen. He's just all over the map, and just is able to play that aggressive gank style with him perfectly. And he's got the farm so far, but we'll see if he can hold together. They do have a lot of pressure as far as you look at map control. You're looking at tier 2 tower on top and bottom for Radiant, and they have lost their tier 2 on bottom lane. By comparison, all 3 tier 2 towers are reserved on the Dire team, so Hydra's doing pretty well in that respect. They are looking at a Roshan attempt. I don't think they're really actually going to do it. They're just baiting it out. Ancient Apparition is scouting that out with his ultimate and making sure that it's covered. Making sure they know exactly what's going on there, even though the counter ward was taken care of there. So it's really just trying to bait out a team fight, cause the enemy to go into unfamiliar territory and catch them out in a bad position. Ultimate Orb going out, probably going to be going for maybe Manta. That's what I would think would be most inclined towards the benefit of the Ethereal Blade. and just farming it up non-stop. He's amazing at getting those last hits off, and look at how aggressive he's playing right now. He's got 15 strength. He's only got 1300 HP. You can compare that to Chaos Knight's 1556. It seems only like a slight decrease, but with the burst damage from Tinker rockets, he has to be very split reaction on that BKB in order to make sure that he doesn't get bursted down too quick. Of course, he does have the potential to morph that all up to become a beast of a tank, probably looking at over 3,000 health, maybe closer to 3,500. With that full strength morph from 118 down to 1 and putting it all into strength. But you really still have to watch that and make sure you're timing that right with the amount of disable that's coming out on this team. Battle Fury on Chaos Knight, actually do not see that as commonly. Usually see him pick up like an armlet, something like that, to make his illusions that more effective, but they know that they're not going to win the end game unless they start changing their strategy. Bleak, a really good farmer overall, but knows that Tinker's not doing well enough to make sure this is going to happen. But unfortunately, a lot of pressure going on to Roshan. Ancient Apparition is going to do some damage, but the rockets are actually going to pick off the Windrunner, and he's going to finish off the Aegis and try to go for some kills. Pops off Musica, immediately godlike on him, but the illusion of the Morphling goes through the BKB and is going to be very painful. Tidehunter does get his Ravage off, but he's hurting for damage. Snoopy's trying to run out, does have his pipe up, so Adaptive Strike did not do anything to him whatsoever. Morphling's hurting on mana, but he does have a full wand and the Aegis there, so that's what he's got to look for. But it looks like they're disengaging the fight at this point in time, and Shadon's going to TP out. So a little bit back and forth, 2 for 2. But I would say overall the fact that Chaos Knight was one of the casualties and the fact that they got the Aegis with Roshan, I would say that fight was definitely in favor of Hydra at this point in time. And probably the gold graphs will say something similar. Yep, just even more so. Continuing their advantage and pushing it. Kind of, I wouldn't say steamrolling it to any extent. It's definitely either person's game, especially if Tinker is able to finish up a Scythe of Ice. But right now, that PowerNet Hydra Morphling is just roaming over and taking control of this game. No, they're probably really happy that they were able to pick up that Morphling after the first phase of bans went through. I'm trying to remember what they banned. The Absolute Legends banned Panda and Enigma. I thought the Enigma was a pretty good ban, but they're probably a little bit frustrated at the fact that Morphling got through and he's doing so well against their team right now. Invisibly Ruined. He does not have a bottle anymore. He did drop that off, but just the ability to be invisible, to kind of ninja around next to the opponent, plan out his next kill. It's can be extremely devastating. Alright, so looking at Aghanim Scepter or Bloodstone coming in on the Leshrac, and then no, like I was saying, I don't think there's a pipe being built on the Dyer's team. And yeah, there was the kill, the ninja kill. I probably should have been keeping track of this Morphling here, but he sees that Ancient Apparition all by himself, just takes a couple seconds out of his day to ruin his. So that's the power of the Adaptive Strike combo, and he's just going to keep on doing that until, as long as he can anyways. But like I said, the closest thing to a pipe is literally just a cloak on Tidehunter, so they are going to have to really worry about Earthshaker's AoE damage accompanied with Ancient Apparitions. Darkseer's ultimate is physical, so that's not that big a deal, or at least the primary part of it, the illusions. But right now, a lot of good map control coming out from the Dire with their wards, and good coordination with their ganking. Nice Force Staff could be opting for a Shackle Shot, but a really long duration stun combined with the Wall of Replica, everything, Echo Slam coming through, and they just didn't stand a chance in that. They really need to get a good Shackle off, but Morphling is coming in really late. His BKB is about to expire, and he does not have a TP scroll. That's going to finish off the Shadow Demon, and they're going to be aware that Morphling's got to be nearby somewhere. So whether or not they can catch up to him is a different story. They do have Drum, they can pop it right here, and if they can catch him, but they do not see him, and he's going to be able to get away. Which is unfortunate, because that was one chance where they really had to take off both the Aegis and his second life. But either way, they still played that teamfight amazingly. Just the power of Vacuum, Wall Replica combined with Echo Slam, and the AA ulti wasn't amazing, but overall, the fact that Chaos Knight was able to kind of quick draw a little bit old-fashioned showdown with Windrunner, pop off that Chaos Bolt before she was able to set up a Shackle with her Force Staff, pick her off before she can mech, completely won on that fight. So really good play by Absolute Legends, and that's what they need to do to stay in this game, to outcarry this Morphling and just push past it. At this point, Morphling still has not died, still has a streak going, and is still level 21 with Aegis, but they're moving more in the right direction. Morphling, as amazing of a carry as he is, and as much farm as PowerNet has put it into him, he still is not able to 1v5. Not against this team anyways. Some teams sure, but with a Chaos Knight and Tinker and things along those lines, the BKB is going to run out, and Decisive Ice will be coming in, so, or the Cast Bolts or what have you. But anyways, Dire kind of keeping defensive action at this point. They don't want to be too much on the back foot, so they're keeping a plateau ward up, making sure that's not covered as well with this nice sentry ward. Actually, the sentry will be able to see across, should be able to see across on the cliff. It's actually pretty wide, but should be able to get detection on any wards that would be up there. And they just want it as exposed as possible. See any wards possibly over in this area as well. Anywho, Ice Vortex is coming out. I'm not sure if they have a gem. Yeah, that's I read that perfectly correctly. But he uses the Ice Vortex to scout out the any wards on the cliffs, and that Geometry Sight will allow him to. But one thing doesn't see coming is this gank coming with a smoke gank. Got about 10 seconds left on smoke, and Darkseer in a bad spot. He does have pipe, he does have surge, but he doesn't see the 5 people about to shackle and just ruin his day. So a lot of damage coming in. Soul Catcher comes up on him, and finally just a lot of damage from the Shrek. Somehow Morphling finishes him off with that Ethereal Blade and just picks up yet another kill. So having fun picking up that farm, and definitely taking advantage of it at this point. So Geometry Sight is still safe because it was on the Ancient What? Actually, I hope they didn't. They might have just traded that off. Let me check the items real quick. Geometry Sight was actually no gems on anybody at this point, so they must have destroyed the gem. That would mean that Darkseer did have the gem, and he just dropped on the ground. Whether or not they actually picked that up after they killed him, I can't say for sure, but they are pushing at this point tier 2 mid. Morphling gets the last hit on that for a nice chunk of gold as well. Manta finished, and they're going to fall back at this point, heal up, and do what they do best. But overall, yeah, the loss of the gem that rapidly, I mean, they must have just bought the gem. Chaos Knight does have his BKB, but that supports must have put a lot of gold into buying that gem to start counter warding, and the fact that they weren't able to is really frustrating for them. So Darkseer definitely picked that gem up because, oh, there's it in base, I guess. I don't know. I'm going on and on about it. I don't know who's going to be carrying it, but they have a gem one way or another, and we'll see what they decide to do with it. Alright. And a nice positioning with the Replicant, so Morphling can be literally anywhere he needs to be, and wreak havoc that way. So he can farm top and be able to jump to mid or bottom for a team fight whenever he needs to. And at this point, he's just doing a little bit of scouting action, sees Snoopy in the jungle there. He even throws a Windrunner auto attack on him just to mess with him there. All the while farming up and getting as beefy as possible. BKB and Manta. BKB has about 8 seconds left on it, and so that's going to be effective for him. But Shaitan has to cancel his TP. Oh wow, Blink, Earthshaker, Echo Slam, and the Ancient Apparition pops him off really quickly. Really quick burst to cancel out the burst of the Morphling there. Just has to be out of nowhere aggressive, and that's what you really got to do, is catch a Morphling off guard, where he's not even able to even think about using BKB, because out of nowhere, suddenly, somebody just popped you off, and walked away. So, Earthshaker, one might think that might be a waste of Echo Slam, the fact that it is on another 100 seconds on cooldown, but there's no way to get that fast of a surprise stun on a hero like that, so I think it's really good use, and a rare chance to get that Aegis taken care of. However, only like about 3 minutes left, and he's going to be able to pick up another one if they do control the map effectively. So, at this point, it's really how they decide to engage the next team fight. They know that the Echo Slam is on cooldown, but they still got the Wall of the Replica if they want to turtle it up. All they have to do is just kind of draw the line across here, and there's not really too much way that they can push through if it's well timed. Meanwhile, actually, Bleak's actually in a really interesting position. I don't know if he's trying to backdoor with Phantasms, or if he's just trying to get a little bit of push action going on before he jumps back to mid. Nice combo of damage coming in. Oh wow, if he didn't Replicant out right there, he would have been in a really bad spot, but the Fissure combined with the Vacuum was not enough to hold him, and he gets even a millisecond out spamming that R. He gets a millisecond out of that stun, and he's able to jump to his Replicant up top in the bottom lane. So that's got to make him happy. Alright, so tied, nowhere near a pipe, and probably not going to be able to finish it by maybe even the end of the game, depending on how long we're looking at. But Roshan is going to be coming up in the next minute, and that's what everybody's going to be looking at. There's a decent push going on in the middle lane, though. Shaitan jumping in, jumping out. He's got March Machines just spamming across, and he's just able to push that mid lane and then jump back to it. They don't have any summons as far as I can tell, so he is kind of reliant on where the lane is. The creeps are positioned in the lane, but he's probably just gonna go and defend bottom or something along those lines anyway. So, nope, going for middle lane. So he's gonna keep with his teammates. He knows that there's gonna be a lot of aggression coming in, and he wants to keep an eye on that. Speaking of which, name of the game aggression. Everybody's smoked up. Everybody's gonna be looking for a kill. I don't know about as far as gems go, but it doesn't really matter. Once they're 900 range, they're going to be spamming stuns on their opponents, and it's going to be too late. Here comes, the smoke just popped off. They know somebody's nearby. They see Snoopy. They must have glimpsed him because there comes the surge. They're going to try to land a kill on him, but the ultimate just pops off just barely. And Ancient Apparition ulti did go out somewhere, but Snoopy lost the surge, and he's going to get drop down shackled before he could even pop his Wall of Replica. And there goes Morphling. BKB ended up trying to do some damage pressure. Has all of his stuff on cooldown. I'm not sure who he used it on, but somebody's probably Chitan's back at base. Yeah, healing up. But Leshrac does get a kill on the Earthshaker, who was pretty much just trying to save his teammates at that point. Whatever that positioning of the Fisher here and running to the right east, he definitely was just trying to keep everybody else covered, and that cost him his life. And that gives them the opportunity to Roshan when he just respawned. So Link has popped off on the Roshan, and they're going to be able to take him down really, really quickly. Morphling happy to eat up that Aegis and proceed to continue his domination streak. At this point, he's what, 9? I can't read this for some reason. 11-0-3 with 265 last hits. That's just ridiculous. That's just so much farm, and it's truly what makes a carry, is how much you can get with all that CS while still maintaining a huge presence in team fights. And that's exactly what he's been doing, putting out that damage, and really Absolute Legends has to position themselves extremely carefully if they're going to be able to shut him down. Now, Chaos Knight has been catching up a little bit on farm with his Battle Fury. Not the most common pickup on Chaos Knight, but it's exactly what he needed to be able to not only push out lanes, but to really catch up in that CS score and be able to actually go toe-to-toe against this Morph. So he's looking at just short of 200 creep kills, which is very high for CK, but not really high for Bleak. At 40 minutes, Bleak farms pretty well most games, but this specific one, he's opting to really, really push it out and make sure he can do as much damage as possible against this Morphling. So I'm not sure exactly what items he's going to be picking up next, but he does have 2600 and can be either saving for buyback or opting for something else. Does have to be careful though. He is a little bit out of position, but really he knows that with the Aegis, the Roshan down, they're really not going to be having to control the map too much. They're going to be starting to push in a couple minutes right now, but really they're going to finish off an item or two and then push on their time. They got the control and they can decide what happens when. But if Absolute Legends is able to take advantage of that, get just a little bit more farm in here and there, they got the Force Staff on Tinker. He has almost enough for his Scythe, and once he gets that, he's going to be in a much better situation against his Morph. His Morph is down to 7 seconds on his BKB, and if he can get maybe Chaos Knight stun prior to it and a Scythe of Ice after it, it's just kind of cap off what the Morphling is capable of other than that initial burst. You really can't stop the initial burst. Waving in with Ethereal Blade and Adaptive Strike is just so destructive. But as soon as he finishes that, pops off maybe an AA or something like that, they're able to chain stuns and disables on him back to back. BKB or after, before BKB or after, depending on the reaction time of the Morphling himself. Cancels the TP, not a big deal obviously because he can always refresh it, but I guess he just didn't feel like that was a safe position to push out, especially knowing where the enemies just aren't anywhere on the map. You gotta have that kind of map awareness at higher level play, and all for good reason, because there's 5-man smoke gank and they're ready to rock and roll. Hydra really good with these coordinated smoke ganks. They've been capitalizing on them. Almost every single one of them has gotten them a kill, and they've been doing them frequently. They've been doing a lot more frequently than Absolute Legends, and most people just kind of forget about them at some point. Oh wow, Chaos Knight in a bad spot. Armor reduced and shackled to a tree. Doesn't get a single thing off, and he's taken down. ulti does get a couple, but really, by comparison, not a big deal. Blink Dagger, Ravage coming in, and that's such a powerful team fight for Hydra. Taking off the Earthshaker, but he does have his Echo Slam still up, and he just came back in with a buyback. Tries to vacuum him onto the Wall of the Replica, but really only a couple illusions got through, and now Earthshaker needs to make a really big play in order to hold this front. They just did lose a lot out of that. Geometry Sight on Shadow Demon, not really relevant right now, but Earthshaker buyback cost him a lot, but he does still have that Blink Dagger, and he's going to have to push in and try to stop this push in. So At this point in time, Snoopy really needs to vacuum some people onto the creeps, keep them all together, and get that Echo Slam really effectively off. It's rank 2, almost. He's working on rank 3, but he's not there yet. But they just need to kind of... Right now they're in counter push mode until they get their 2 heroes up. If they could just delay it until... It's kind of like you see a power play and you have to delay the game in order to get your teammates back up out of penalty box, and that's really what you're looking at here. Ancient Apparition coming up, Chaos Knight shortly after, and that's what they really needed. So they were able to hold it off nicely with their counter push, and that's decent play just for the delay of game tactic that they needed. At this point, Morphling farmed up. He has another ultimate orb. Could be looking. Let me see. Is he? He's not really looking for a link, it's that I could tell. I mean, then again, you got the Scythe to worry about. You got the Scythe and the Chaos Knight stun. So I would say it'd be appropriate to get a Lincoln Sphere, even at this late in the game. You usually get a lot earlier for defensive purposes, but he chose to rush that E-Blade, and he's definitely capitalized on that plenty. Stacking Ancients, or stacking creeps from the Windrunner, and just to kind of keep that farm window open for anybody who decides to take advantage of it. But like I was saying, that Lincoln Sphere, even though it's pretty late for it, because they usually get it earlier, still could be very effective against the amount of single target CC that can come out. But he does opt for the Scotty instead. That's what came on the Courier. I just realized it has kind of bat wings. I don't know why a horse would have bat wings, but that's kind of not that important right now. Anywho, the Scotty does come out. It's going to give him a 25% slow, I believe. 30% slow on movement, 20% attack slow. So I kind of average those together, but nice slow to negate some damage from the enemy team and also give him the chase ability. Right now he can slow with the Ethereal Blade, but he can't auto attack during that until he pops his BKB. So what he's got to do is Ethereal Blade either during or prior to a waveform, Adaptive Strike and waveform. Then he has to Manta off or BKB off the Ethereal Blade effect so he can start wreaking havoc with the auto attacks. Nice last item might be for like a Satanic or a Butterfly. Probably opting for the Butterfly just to kind of scale with that Ethereal Blade's agility gain, because he is pretty much comfortable with being maximum Agimorph at this point in time, just sitting around 2,000 health despite the 300 or 275 for again agility there. Regeneration. 279. Yeah. Anywho, replicants everywhere. He does actually pop down to that. He's going to do a split push, just kind of realizes everybody's up top and says, hey, I don't have to worry about you positioning. I choose where this game goes, and I'm going to be selfish about it and make sure that it goes on my terms. So they're covering Roshan. They still have like 4 minutes left on it, but right now, PowerNet's just putting pressure on the bottom lane, and pretty much he's saying, hey, you guys can opt for top lane, but you cannot push as fast as I can. You're going to have to fall back and play defensively. And with this Aegis, like I said, Roshan's only almost got 4 minutes left on it. That means the Aegis only has about 4 minutes left on it. So they're on a timetable. They need to start working on their next play. Morphling's capped out at level 25. Has his Replicant out. He's probably going to use that to TP defensively if he's going to do some aggressive play forward. But he really needs to start opting for just pushing and killing the towers racks at this point. If they don't push a racks in the next few minutes, I can't. Right now, I think Hydra has a huge advantage. But if they don't get a smart initiation on the tower and then subsequently the racks in the next 4 minutes, then it could actually swing back in Hale's direction. He sends his Manta. What he does is Manta up to do a little bit of pressure mid, and then he kind of shoos them off top lane by thwarting them with this CS here. So at this point he's farming more and more. He just got his Boots of Travels. He's going to sell his treads when he gets the chance. So he does have so much gold, but that did cost him buyback until he sells the treads. And even after he sells the treads, he'll be short of it for just a little bit. But you're looking at an amazing amount of farm. You're looking at 343 CS, just ricing hard and getting that huge advantage. Farming up. He definitely has the highest GPM in the game. You can check it out. You're looking at 549 GPM. Shameful, really. And then you're looking at 393 and 333 for Tinker and Chaos Knight and Tinker respectively. So at this point, the only thing that's detracting from them is Shadow Demon and Tidehunter really don't have that much farm. So you're looking at only a Blink Dagger on Tide. He's not able to pick up that Pike. He's not able to finish off that Assault Cuirass, not anytime soon anyways. But Windrunner was in a bad position. Despite being well farmed herself with a Scythe, a Force Staff, and a Mech, she really just has to watch where she's going to be and make sure that she's not putting herself in a bad position, because when you don't see everybody else on the map, they're probably hunting you. However, that mild setback is being quickly thwarted by Power Net, able to backdoor the tower real quick. Doesn't even have to worry about the creeps, just able to push through it with the amount of damage that he can sustain. And the only one really, with that double damage rune, the only one really that has a chance of stopping him is Shatan, who's going to get picked off right now. He does use the sheep, which is very effective against him, but really if he can just get an adaptive strike on him, pops him off real quick, and then he replicates out. So he's in a safe spot. Tinker did just buy back, but that cost him so much gold, and they're not going to even be able to retaliate. They might be able to jump on the Tide Hunter. He's all by himself at this point, so they do get a free Tide out of it, but the fact of the matter is Morphling happy to take that kill and leave. That costs Tinker a substantial amount of gold. You're looking at 1,300 gold cost and along with the death cost of 30 times 18. And what Morphling got out of it, free kill and nothing more, nothing less. Just kind of keeping that pressure up and keeping the damage up. He did opt for the boots travel, and he still has that Aegis, which obviously is the perfect thing to fill that slot right now. But he's looking at only 20 seconds left on it, so he's probably just gonna have to look for. This one's gonna have cheese. Actually, this should be the third Roshan, so it will have cheese and it will have Aegis. And I'm interested to see how they want to distribute that. If they're gonna have a support carry the cheese for Morphling or for themselves. They don't really have any high HP heroes that really benefit from it. And Morphling goes to rebuy his Black King bar. At this point, he was down to like maybe 6 seconds with that last use, maybe even 5. I wasn't keeping too high of tabs on it. One way or another, it's back up to 10. He sold it, got half the gold value back, was able to purchase it, and he almost has buyback money again. So he's just that farm that he can be like, okay, fine, my BKB is not doing too hot anymore, buy a fresh one, and that's what he's got, and that's gonna really benefit him in the next fight. However, it puts him kind of in an all-in situation. He's very vulnerable right now. They see three people relatively close to Roshan. They need to finish off quickly because right now he doesn't have Aegis and he doesn't have buyback. This is literally his most vulnerable point in the game, even though it's only 25 to 25 and 50 minutes in. It's something that he really needs to watch out for. At this point, Leshrac picked up the Aegis and he picks up the cheese. So what he needs to do is be really quick on his BKB Strength Morph button, because if he's Strength Morphing while he's Magic Immune, really there's not enough auto attack damage in the world to handle him. But then he'll drop down to maybe like 10% health and then can just cheese back up to full, and that could be a health gain of even 3,000 and still be able to, or 2,500. He'll probably try to optimize on that static amount of quantity. Interesting, they go right by the illusions. I guess he mantoed too late. But anyways, Sheep Stick going in. Ancient Apparition, Lesh is just getting so much damage taken into him. I mean, the Disruption will probably thwart most of the damage that the Ice Blast is pouring into him. But the fact that you just lost your Leshrac's health that low, that fast, you're going to have to just fall back and reconsider your attempt to push in. One thing that's so frustrating to fight against is this Tinker, Soul Ring and Bottle. He's able to march machines across over and over and over and over and over and just stop any creep wave that could possibly go through. And it's one of the most annoying things in the world, and you have to have Supreme Initiation, Disables, and just Pain Train Destruction to be able to prevent that. And right now, they really need the Tide to pull off a really nice Ravage, and the Morphling to be able to kill 2 heroes in that time frame, or you are looking at having to save for a refresher, which doesn't look like that's on Tide Hunter's agenda at the moment. Gem on Shadow Demon, he's looking at the pipe finally, got the headdress, got the hood. I don't mean to be condescending, the fact that finally, obviously he's a good player and he knows when to buy things and when it's the best opportunity to do so, but right now he's not been doing too hot. His GPM is low, and if they had it earlier, all I'm saying is they could have actually turned around a couple more team fights. Nice Shackle going on Bleak. Ancient Apparition ulti coming on the Morphling. Does take bonus damage from the fact that he's Ethereal Blade, but does pop up the Chaos Knight, who has bought back. BKB on the Morphling. He is relatively low HP, but he does have the cheese available. He needs to have good reflexes on that. He's sitting at 600 health, trying to go aggressive on this Darkseer. He's going to wait for him on top of him as soon as he saw him. He's going to Adaptive Strike him and be able to Manta as well. And didn't pop the Adaptive Strike, but Snoopy's going to try to TP here, and there's nothing to stop him but the Shackle and the Ravage, both popping up simultaneously. Kind of a waste of a Ravage, but they are able to finish off that Darkseer. He does have buyback money and ready, available. It is going to cost him half his gold, but at the same time, 70-second death timer, that's something he cannot afford. So Ravage is on cooldown. That's an unfortunate setback. If they had just communicated just a tiny bit better, they would have known the Shackle was available. But they just really wanted that Darkseer kill, and they were willing to... Hylau, I don't know, was willing to waste a Ravage to apply that. But Morphling just got picked off. I don't know what Earthshaker just managed, but that's a really important thing that they were able to accomplish there. Musica burning his Echo Slam, blinks on top of him, does another really quick initiation, I'm guessing with Ancient Apparition ulti to follow up, and that was something they really need there. Missed that really clutch moment, but the fact that they were able to pick off this Morphling and force his buyback puts him in a, like I said, a very vulnerable point. He doesn't have buyback for 4.5 minutes in a 53 minutes game. That's just about the end of it. So they have to be a little bit more careful with that. The fact that he was running around with 600 health. Yeah, he's got cheese, but if he's permanently disabled before he can use it, it's going to be worthless to him. And they were able to take advantage of that. Good play by Musica, being able to initiate like that and see that small window of opportunity they were able to take advantage of. And plenty of counter push with the Tinker everything. March, and some Fisher action. Tower is perfectly safe. I mean, they've pushed this middle lane so many times. This creep wave has been pushed out to this location over and over and over again, but it's not even half health. So, smoke up on the Dire team. Hydra going out to have a party in the jungle, and Radiant team is invited, but Leshrac getting caught out, gets shaped, and here comes Morphling coming in. Nice disruption on Leshrac. He's going to drop eventually, but he does have that Aegis just delaying the damage there. Ravage not up yet, but Morphling trying to fight for his life. He needs the cheese, and he loses his life. No cheese from the Morphling, 100-second death timer, and no buyback whatsoever. This is what Absolute Legend needed right there. Still a bit of damage coming out, trying to pick off a couple last heroes, but really the big one was Morphling. He's got all the gold, he's got all the farm, and he is in the grave right now. Absolute Legend needs to use this time to push, needs to end this game, needs to push at least one set of racks, if not two, if not throne. They need to use this time right now. Ravage is up at this point, was not up for the fight, but now is available. But at this point, this is Absolute Legend's time. There's too much CC, they chained it together too perfectly. This Morphling dead, BKB on cooldown, and not able to cheese, and there goes a pick-off. There goes Shadow Demon picked off. The Ravage does go out, but at this point, all they're going to lose for it is a Chaos Knight. Nice Echo Slam coming in from Earthshaker. Tinker Rockets, Tinker Permasheep. He is out of mana at this point, though, and he needs to fall back. He's going to Soul Ring, teleport back to base, Soul Ring Ultimate, and try to jump right back into it, because they need these towers. They need these towers this very second. Geometry Sight on the ground. But Morphling dropped down. 2 minutes left on his buyback, but he still has his cheese. And 5 minutes on Roshan. So, really nice play, but I wish they had been able to capitalize on it. Pushing down this tower, pushing out stuff. I might have gotten a little bit overexcited in what they possibly could feasibly push, especially with the Ravage coming back up. But really, that's the biggest window they've had all game, and that's something they've needed. But that is one thing, that if they can chain disable this Morphling, he does have a 8-second BKB, but that's only an 8-second window in a long team fight, that if they can just focus their disables, use enough Slice of Ice, Sheep Stakes, get enough Chaos Bolts off, everything, and combine that with Earthshaker's damage and CC potential, they can actually bring this guy down. So Morphling at this point, he needs to play a bit more defensively. He's still morphed all the way to maximum agility. He has one... That's fun. Game pause, 1 sec pulls, but you're looking at Morphling waveforming. He doesn't exist. He's just a puddle. The most beefiest, amazingest hero in the game with the best in slot items is just a puddle at the moment. Anywho, but yeah, like I was saying, he's still kind of playing aggressively. He's got 162 agility, only 1 strength. He's playing at maximum magi, and the fact of the matter is he only has 1900 health. If he gets picked off with that before he can BKBs or after BKB expires, he's not going to be able to finish off his cheese. He's going to have a possible 4-second stun coming out from Chaos Knight, and then he's going to drop, just like he did before. Strength Morph is nice, but it's a static amount of healing per second. That's really not going to save him from the ever-increasing damage from the Absolute Legends team. And so they really got to watch themselves at this point. Morphling, his first death, is that his first death in the entire game? No, he's died twice now, 16, 2, and 5. He's died a number of times with the Aegis of the Immortal. Was his second death for real. He's up at 459 CS at this point. It's just gold is through the roof. Total gold gain. He has 33.7k gold earned in this game. Unheard of. And I mean, you hear it in the Chinese metagame. You hear it in the games that go for an hour and a half. But this right now, in this metagame, I haven't seen him carry this farmed in a long time. But he needs to be careful. Like I said, he cannot 1v5. He needs to watch his health and watch his power, and if he gets chain disabled, he's in a bad spot. However, buyback coming up in 30 seconds, and he's all too happy for that. He needs to definitely take advantage of the fact that he has that buyback available, and right now with that breaking 600 GPM almost an hour into the game, he's pretty much there's nothing he can do better than this. He might be able to throw down a Battle Fury, or he could throw down a Satanic instead of a cheese, but I don't even know if that would be that much better. Satanic is really good for the fact that just a couple auto attacks in, you can regenerate almost all your health with that maximum amount of lifesteal, and that's effectively just like a cheese, but it's not instantaneous. He still has to get a couple auto attacks off, and right now all the Absolute Legends, all the breathing room that Absolute Legends is leaving him is barely a millisecond, if that. So there's really very limited time for Morphling to take advantage of that, and I think he's going to just hang on to the cheese for right now and save his money. He is as farmed as possible, but he cannot do it alone, and that's where his teammates really need to have good initiation, really good ravages active and available, and need to coordinate those fights there with good sheeps from the track, everything like that. I mean, he's got his Aghanim's, he does an amazing amount of Pulse Nova damage, but right now it hasn't even been able to burn through the pipe that was picked up by Darkseer. And so the Aghanim Scepter illusion is actually doing more damage than as much damage. Well, actually, if you think about how much agility Morphling has right now, I'd say the Wall of Replica is actually doing more damage to their team and turning the tide against them. So Morphling is actually, if he gets caught in that Wall of Replica, even with his BKB, it still activates. That illusion is going to be doing more to the team than anything that AL has otherwise. So it's really up to the Darkseer, Snoopy, to play that initiation card right, to vacuum in, or just Wall of Replica right on top of that Morphling and get that 140% damage shoved in the other direction. It doesn't scale perfectly. It scales based on their base stats. That's how illusions work. But if you're looking at the stats on Morphling, you're looking at 162 plus 117 agility. It's all about the agility for his damage right here. And so that's where the Wall of Replica shines, and that's where they're going to have a tough time if Snoopy's able to get that perfect Wall of Replica off like he needs to. And like I was saying, the pipe also, with regular boots, is kind of funny. At this late in the game, he has 5,200 gold, but's only spent 500 gold on his boots. Anywho, but the Pipe of Insight able to mitigate a lot of damage from not only the waveform and such from Morphling, but also the Ravage from Tide and the Pulse Nova from Leshrac. They're waiting for Roshan to spawn. They know he's only got about 5 more seconds, but so do Absolute Legends. They see them. They know they're waiting. They did just walk over a sentry ward. They lost the smoke. They have to go in now. Bleak popping his BKB, trying to put out the damage. Everything going on, Ravage going off, Shatan, low health, and no BKB at the moment. He does pop his BKB. The damage from CK just focusing everybody down. Shadow Demon does get dropped off. Ancient Apparition is being pursued by the Leshrac, but he's low HP too. Morphling trying to finish off, gets to Shatan. Morphling on a triple kill, Ancient Apparition buyback. The illusion of Chaos Knight trying to do some damage, but Snoopy gets the Wall of Replica off, finally gets the wall, pops the cheese off, but here comes the Echo Slam onto the Morphling. Morphling beating the shit out of himself, and he's dropping down to 500 HP, barely surviving at that point, and he goes back up into the illusions. Nice stun on from Chaos Knight, and that drops him down. Morphling buys back. Morphling pops his buyback. Leshrac pops his buyback. At this point, I'm not even sure the net kills on that. I'd say just about everybody died once. But in the end, you got 4 people up for Absolute Legends, and only 3 from Hydra. Shadow Demon saving his buyback. He didn't have the money for it. Tide had the money for it, but he's saving it. Not sure where that came from, but really just Absolute Legends showing that they can make that team fight. But Darkseer cannot hold onto his Wall of Replica that long. I'm trying to recall if Darkseer had to buy back and had to run back into the fight or not. But in that moment hesitation, Morphling is able to pick up that Aegis, and he's probably a lot happier about the Aegis than he is about the cheese. Doesn't need to manually activate it. Doesn't need to get that second or two to pop it. Just whenever he falls, he's back up and he's ready to go. And big push coming in from bottom lane. So a ton of range creeps doing 1.5x damage with the piercing damage and the Ballista as well. But Shatan and Snoopy taking care of that really quickly. Only a little bit of damage coming down the towers. At this point, 62 minutes into the game, all 6 tier 3 towers are standing, and at this point over half health on every single one of them. So they've been trying to push so hard. They've been trying to get the upper hand, just finish a fight and push in, but they've just been unable to do it. Despite the global presence of the tanker, despite the amazing powerhouse that is Morphling, both teams just so evenly matched at this point. And the gold graph has always been in favor of the Dire. The experience graph always in favor of the Radiant recently, anyways, since the last couple of team fights. And It was definitely, obviously, in favor of the Hydra for a very long time, but at this point they're looking at smoke most likely. But Dire had such an experience advantage, and now it's going completely the other way. Morphling capped out. Leshrac 23. I mean, they don't have much more place to go. And the Chaos Knight, level 25, same with Darkseer. Tinker could use a little bit more. But overall, the Smoke Gank is going to decide what happens in the rest of this. If they can get some damage, Earthshaker does actually blink out. He is safe for the moment. Tide is here. 4-second stun on Tide Hunter. It's going to pop off when the W pops, and that's going to be the Kraken Shell. He keeps on getting his Disable Wreck, but every single time just Shiva's up. But the Chaos Knight illusions, plus the illusions from Darkseer as well, just so much damage, and Morphling's going to drop down. Everybody just falls. It's double kill from Tinker, and just a little bit of damage from everybody coming out. So painful. Ancient Apparition landed a really good ulti in that fight, and the Wall Replica pulled in so many people. Didn't even have to use the Echo Slam, just the combined Scythe of Ice with the Chaos Knight, Chaos Bolt, delaying the Tide Ravage until it was pretty much useless. And once it was popped, almost the entire team was down. Shadow Demon Windrunner so squishy, Leshrac being able to pretty easily to focus, and once those illusions start focusing on the Morphling, he just gets torn apart. And now at this point in time, Aegis down, Buyback down, and hello Rax Towers, hello Base Towers. They got 60 full seconds without a Morphling on the field, and they're going to take advantage of it. First time Dire has had to fortify in like half an hour, but they're finally pushing in, they're finally taking this fight down. Not sure if they're going to call GG. I'm sure they're going to try to hold it on, the fact that they've been fighting so hard for this in the first place, but finally that opportunity of window finally opened. That Wall of Replica, Aghanim Scepter got nerfed. It's not as abusable as it used to be a few months back, but that doesn't mean it's a bad pickup. He's still very strong, and against that Morphling with so much agility, it's just the most destructive thing you can imagine. I'm hoarse at this point. This has been amazing fights, amazing back and forth action, and absolute legends just showing that they got the coordination, they got the potential to just pull through with it. They're going to be rotating top, looking for the top racks. They've taken mid, and they've taken bottom racks. Morphling has 13 seconds left on him. 6,000 gold, can buy whatever the fuck he wants, but it doesn't matter when he's buybacks on cooldown. Nice, Ancient Apparition, Vacuum, Darkseer, Wall of Replica, Echo Slam, everything just falling out. They're focusing on the Leshrac now. Tide Hunter's all out in the open as well. They're going to fall back at this point. They know that Morphling's back up, but Morphling did get sheeped at this point, does not have his BKB active, just got Earthshaker fissured, and is not even able to finish off on the Earthshaker. He gets surged out by Darkseer, nice play there, but Chaos Knight taking tons of damage, and with the Scotty, and unable to go anywhere. Tide, gotta watch his health against these creeps. Mega creeps at this point pushing in against him, but problem is Morphling, after that waveform, he's not able to pursue very high, and pretty much Darkseer could surge out anybody with a Shadow Demon dead. So Earthshaker does make it out fine, doesn't have to buy back. Do get a buyback from Tinker and Chaos Knight, so they do get that advantage, but gold has almost no meaning at this point. They almost all have the items that they're going to have. At this point, they're pretty much hanging on to the items that they're going to have for the rest of the game. You're 66 minutes in, you're not going to spend gold unless you have like over 5,000. You're going to save for your buyback, which at this point is up to over 2,000 gold for Morphling. It just costs him so much for those deaths, but he's opting for, instead of worrying about when Roshan comes up, he's going to go for that butterfly. He's got his Eagle Song. He just has to run over to the secret shop or have the courier do the runs for him, but he's going to go for that butterfly and get that last bit of agility just to do that last chunk of immense damage. And he really needs it. Salt Curious finished on the Chaos Knight. Manta finished on the Chaos Knight. Reason that Manta's really good, other than the fact that it has good stats and mobility for an already mobile hero. Reason for that is with his Phantasm and his Manta Illusions, they all get the benefit of his Reality Rift. He W's somebody, just clicks on them, and suddenly a huge clump of, what, like 5 bonus Chaos Knights, so 6 Chaos Knights total, clump around one person, fully surround them, and just completely annihilate, almost like they all attack simultaneously. So it's a huge burst of physical damage, and it's very, very, very painful. At this point, everybody's looking at the items that they're going to have for the rest of the game. There's nobody going to be buying some obscene, amazing item. I mean, Earthshaker's got an Ultimate Orb. He might do something with that, but he's just going to be looking for another Scythe, another CC to throw on that Morphling. And that Morphling, really, PowerNet's done so well this game, but the one thing that he is lacking a little bit, he's delaying a little bit on his BKBs. And most of these disables are instant with the Scythe of Isis, so he's not to blame for that, but at the same time, he is getting disabled extremely hardcore, and that powerhouse of damage, being able to do 350 damage in auto attack, he's not able to do it. He's being held back and by all this disable and focus on him. So even though he's got a 10-second BKB, he hasn't been able to use it at the time that he needs it. He's able to use it at any time, but it's not. He always use it after a couple of disables have already popped on him, and it's crushing his team fight potential. Windrunner has bought her BKB at this point, and I'm going to stop saying that. But and Morphling also rebought his, so he's up to 10 seconds. Shatan pushing in the bottom lane, doing a split push action, just kind of keeping the pressure. The fact that these mega creeps are already so incredibly strong, but keeping the damage out coming out from them. Now you're looking at middle lane, no racks, bottom lane, no racks. That pressure constantly coming in, and now Shatan TPing top to push the pressure from all three directions. And that's just aggravating to deal with, but it gives so much opening for Absolute Legends to pick up any gold they want, any gold they need, and really change the flow of the game at this point. Morphling still doing as well as he's going to be. He's pretty much, after he picks up that butterfly, he's not going to be picking up a single other item. But well, actually, Chaos Knight doing a lot of damage to him, but he's able to replicate out. Just gets even just a second and a half of breathing room, and that's where he's going to be able to TP out and be happy about it. That's why Morphling, even in a bad situation, when he's farming aggressively, still isn't you can never count him out as far as being a dead and out of the water, but because he is water. But mostly because that replicant, instantaneous teleport wherever. If he has a replicant in base, suddenly instead of being hit on by 5 people, he's healing up in fountain, having a cup of coffee, sipping away. So really, at this point, Refresher Orb, Darkseer, oh my gosh. Double Wall of Replica on the Darkseer is going to be the most painful thing you can possibly see. I'm just going to, next fight, obviously I'll try to keep up to the action, but if Morphling's in the middle of it, I'm just going to watch him try to tank his own illusions. And the fact that he has no lifesteal at all, 2 Morphling illusions dealing 140% base damage to this Morphling is going to be the most, it's going to plow through him as far as damage goes. Even the fact that he has 70% damage resistance from this amazing amount of 40 base armor from his Agi, double Wall of Replica, it's just too much. Sheep does go up on Snoopy. AALT coming in, and Snoopy gets picked off. No, he's gonna buy back. Yeah, he's got to buy back up, despite the fact that he popped a Wall of Replica. They're gonna try to push in. What Snoopy's gonna do is wait until they're at their doorstep to buy back, TP right on top of them, drop the Wall of Replica, drop the vacuum, pop his refresher, drop another Wall of Replica, maybe another vacuum if he feels like it. Just keep them all in the same spot. But they're not gonna push. They're gonna wait for Roshan. Only a little bit of time left in there. And once the Roshan pops off, who knows, he'll get the Aegis, because right now Morphling has an Eagle Song. You might just sell the Eagle Song. Money's of no importance to him right now, so he could just sell the Eagle Song and go for the Aegis. But it really depends on who Hydra thinks really needs it. But that gives them the time window where Darkseer can take that death and let it not be that big of a deal. Wow, Tinker Rockets and Ancient Apparition ulti. He's not able to strength morph out of this. He will not benefit him in any way. It's actually negative effect. And if he drops down to 12% health, he's going to die. Last tick popped him off, 325 tick, and that's going to drop him down. Ancient Apparition gives the gold, 325 gold, I mean. But at the same point, buyback, he's going to have to pop it. And it's just, that's the disadvantage of running at 1900 health. At this point, he has so much agility that he could just put like even 10 points, 15 points into strength and probably be a little bit better off. He's not going to be, he's doing the damage he needs to. It's not his damage, it's his health. And if he gets his healing stopped. Now, I'm wondering why he didn't pop BKB. I think he thought he would live, but the fact of the matter is he can, I believe that, okay, I'm not watching a team fight going on. Chaos Knight, BKB, Manta, Reality Rift, all over them. Windrunner has her Windrun on cooldown, and Chaos Knight's going to be Reality Rifting and as soon as he can. Just does a couple auto attacks, finishes her off. And now Chowder even solved himself, so they're calling GG. They got a really good initiation off with that Echo Slam Fisher, kind of putting him out of position here. And sorry I missed that talking about Morphling, but it's been a 72-minute game. I'm a little bit worn out, so I'm going to be heading to bed. But this was a really, really amazing game between these guys. Double wall of replica, come on. Double the wall of replica, yeah. So you got illusions everywhere. You got Pain Train from this Dark Seer, from everybody. This AL got the Divine Rapier on the Chaos Knight finally, and that's what they were able to allow them to finish it. So good game, well played. And 47 to 36. XP graph. After a really long, hard-fought time, after 54 minutes, going the way of the Radiant, and the gold graph even later, looking at closer to 65 minutes going, and finally, after the entire game, tiny blip here, almost no time in the gold advantage until this very, very end. A couple team fights won, and that's what finished it. So, 3 level 25 heroes on Absolute Legends team, and good game, well played on their part. Divine Rapier, everything. I mean, just they initiated well, they played well, they were able to turtle well, and they were able to pick off the Morphling at very key points. To the point that Morphling was, I wouldn't say scared, but he wasn't able to play as aggressively as PyroNet likes to play him. So overall, just really good play, really good coordination, and they were able to pull out the win. So good game, well played from both sides. Especially shout out to PowerNet Morphling for running 21-6-6, 630 last hits on a Morphling. Love those games where he can just get that powerhouse rolling. But again, Radiant played well, and good game, well played. Thanks for watching, guys. Blaze got a channel, YouTube channel, Blaze Casting. You might be at it right now checking it out, but just trying to get into casting, get a little bit better. My throat is a little sore right now, but I feel this actually was one of my better casts. I definitely started really well off in the beginning and kind of cruised along with it, even though it was a really long game, an hour and 12 minutes there. But overall, just if you have any feedback to leave, any way I can meet your casting needs better, I'm going to be casting the Defense 2 tournament as best I can throughout the remainder of the tournament, starting off with the group stage here, and just pressing along through every game that I can. But awesome game. Thanks for watching, and hope to see you guys next time. See you.